You know, throughout history, there have been some seriously scary creatures roaming our planet. I mean, we're talking about beasts that were so huge and terrifying that we're all pretty relieved they're no longer around. Take, for example, Megalodon. If you like oceanic things, you'd be glad this guy isn't lurking under the sea anymore. In ancient times, during the age of dinosaurs, Megalodon ruled the waves like a boss. Imagine this, a shark that can reach up to 20 meters in length. It's like the size of a school bus, guys. This creature was the undisputed king of the ancient depths, ruling with an iron fin. But hey, let's not get too comfortable. Just because Megalodon is gone doesn't mean we're out of the woods. Our world is still home to some spine-chilling creatures. So here now are 10 Mariana Trench creatures that are scarier than Megalodon.
Number 10. The Bloop Sea Monster.
Hey there. Let me hit you with a question right from the get-go. What's scarier than the unknown? I mean, seriously, isn't that one of the things that keeps us sticking to our usual routines and avoiding the great big world out there? And when we talk about the deep, dark depths of the oceans, well, we're talking about a whole lot of mystery. We don't have all the answers, and that uncertainty is what makes those waters downright spooky. Take, for instance, the infamous Bloop Sea Monster. Ever heard of it? It's got folks scratching their heads after scientists picked up on this mysterious sound echoing through the ocean. Bloop is a super low-frequency noise that was captured in 1997, right in the middle of the Pacific Ocean by the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Now, here's where things get really interesting. Some people swear it's the sound of some unknown marine animal lurking in the depths, while others think it's just an iceberg doing its thing and disintegrating in Antarctica. What left everyone scratching their heads is that this sound was heard both above and below the surface of the water. Now, that's a dead giveaway that it's not your typical ocean creature making the noise. Sure, whales sing underwater all the time, but you typically don't hear them from up there unless they're breaching the surface. The bloop made its debut in '97, then decided to return in 2012. So it's not something unique. Now, this has people wondering, what the hell is making that noise? Is it some mysterious sea creature? Or is it just an innocent piece of ice breaking off in the south? Now, there are those who think it's just Mother Nature doing her thing with icebergs and other things. But there are a lot of other people who are not so easily convinced. If there's something out there that can make a sound heard over 3,000 miles away, well, let's just say it can make old Megalodon look like a friendly goldfish. What if it's Cthulhu? Well, then we'd be screwed.
Number 9. The Frilled Sharks.
Now, we can't talk about scary sea creatures without mentioning a shark or two. Sure, the Megalodon was the king of the depths back in the day, but don't go thinking that modern-day sharks aren't worthy of a little fear themselves. Take the frilled shark, for example. This bad boy's scary just because it looks nothing like your typical shark. They're what scientists call living fossils because their species has been kicking around for millions of years and they haven't changed much. You'd think evolution would give him a little makeover, but not these guys. Instead, they still rock that eel-like body, complete with a lack of top fin that's usually a shark staple. And when they swim, more like an eel's smooth glide than your typical shark's jagged paddle. But don't let their unusual looks fool you, they're still every bit the predator you'd expect a shark to be. These guys are active hunters and they won't think twice about lunging at prey and swallowing it whole, no matter how big it is. Talk about a one-shot deal. With plenty of prey on their menu, they're top-tier predators of the deep. Now, here's where things get real mysterious. These frilled sharks live so deep down that they're hardly ever caught on film or studied up close. Heck, we hardly know a thing about their ecology or how many of them are out there.
Number 8. The Goblin Shark.
Now, let's dive back into the oceanic shark zone and talk about something that will send shivers down your spine. Yes, I know I've said this about many creatures, but believe me, when it comes to the goblin shark, it's a whole new level of horror. Just take a look at this. Does it look like something you'd like to tinker with? Never. Firstly, it's a long guy, stretching an impressive 3 to 4 meters on average. That's more than enough to give a human serious scrutiny should they cross paths in the depths. And although they are usually located in the Mariana Trench, they have been seen in shallow waters up to 100 meters below sea level, so keep an eye out there. But what really sets this creature apart and makes it so terrifying? Well, it's all in the way he eats. When he's hungry for a snack, he doesn't just take a bite like a normal shark. Oh no, that would be very normal. Instead, it makes a move straight out of a science fiction movie. It extends its mouth outward from its body to grab its prey. Yes, like something out of Alien. Now, if that doesn't make you wonder what other strange abilities lurk in the depths of the ocean, I don't know what will. Even the mighty Megalodon didn't need to resort to such bizarre tactics. He just chomped down on everything in sight and called it a day. But when you need to do an alien move just to eat something, well, you're officially off the charts on the weird scale. And honestly, I'd rather not dwell on it any longer.
Number 7. Deep sea anglerfish.
When it comes to being scary, size doesn't always matter. Sure, big creatures can be frightening, but there are some small ones out there that'll give you the heebie-jeebies. Take, for instance, the deep-sea anglerfish. It may be tiny, but it's terrifying in every way that counts. You know how you're always on the lookout for bees and hornets when you're in the water? Well, imagine feeling that same level of fear but deep down in the Mariana Trench. That's where you'll find this little nightmare of a creature lurking. The deep-sea anglerfish is like something straight out of your worst dreams. It's so spooky that even Disney featured it in Finding Nemo to scare the living daylights out of everyone watching. As far as size is concerned, the deep-sea anglerfish is only 18 centimeters long at most. You won't see one near the surface because it is more than 2,000 meters below sea level. But that's actually a plus to it. Living in such deep, dark waters means sunlight doesn't reach there. Thus, the animals in this area have adapted to survive without light. Deep-sea anglerfish have a unique way of dealing with darkness. It has a small light bulb on its head that it can light up to attract unsuspecting prey. Fish at these depths are not used to seeing light, so they are attracted to it like moths to a flame. But instead of finding warmth, they end up becoming a tasty snack for the monkfish. It's like a real-life horror show down there. But here's the really scary part: almost all deep-sea anglerfish you encounter are female. They are the largest gender while the males are small in comparison. And when a male wants to mate with a female, they basically merge. Yes, that's even scarier than any shark in the world ocean.
Number 6. The fang-tooth fish.
Sometimes it's not about how big the creature is, but rather the size of their teeth that'll send shivers down your spine. Enter the fa-tooth fish. This fish earns its name from its seriously impressive chompers, which are actually the largest teeth of any fish in the ocean when you compare them to the size of this creature's body. Yep, those teeth mean it can split any prey, and this fish knows it. The funny thing is, despite their menacing appearance, fa-tooth fish aren't exactly giants. They only measure in at about 16 centimeters long, so they're not exactly a threat to us humans. But hey, you still wouldn't want one sinking its teeth into you. What's even scarier is that these little guys can be found all over the world, whether it's in shallow waters or the deep dark depths of the ocean. They're versatile like that. You might spot them anywhere from around 200 meters below the surface to over 5,000 meters deep. Talk about having a wide range.
Number 5. Atlantic wolffish.
Atlantic wolffish are quite unique creatures. They've got their name from wolves, which is pretty cool since wolves are awesome. But when people checked out their teeth, they noticed a resemblance to a wolf scowl, and that's how they got their name. Despite their somewhat fierce appearance and those big teeth, Atlantic wolffish are actually pretty chill. They like to munch on slow-moving or lazy prey like sea urchins, crabs, mollusks, and big snails. So, what's the scary part? Well, it's all about survival in these waters. The Atlantic wolffish is super adaptable. It can handle freezing temperatures 0 degrees Celsius. They've got literal antifreeze in their blood, which helps them tough out the cold. And guess what? There are plenty of other fish out there with the same superpower. Evolution's a crazy thing, huh? It's like nature's way of giving these fish a fighting chance in places you'd think they wouldn't stand a chance.
Number 4. Deep-sea dragonfish.
Now let's talk about another creature that's deadly despite its tiny size, the deep-sea dragonfish. These little guys can grow up to 26 centimeters long, but some are only around 15 centimeters. But trust me, when you see them up close, you can't deny they're freaky looking, and you definitely don't want them taking a nibble at you. But what's truly terrifying about them is the barrel they've got by their mouth. The tip of this barrel can light up through a process called bioluminescence. They dangle it right in front of their mouth, and as soon as some poor unsuspecting creature gets too close, bam. They launch their attack and devour their victim. Just like the anglerfish, they use light and darkness together to hunt, and let me tell you, it's a pretty vicious and scary process.
Number 3. Deep-sea hatchetfish.
You'll notice that many of these creatures have deep sea in their names. However, some of them have quite a wide range, so that name might not always fit perfectly. But let me tell you, this is one freaky fish. It's all about how it uses light. No, it's not trying to lure fish in so it can eat them. It's quite the opposite, actually. These fish use a skill called counterillumination. Basically, their organs emit light to shield them from predators lurking below. Think of it like this: imagine you're above someone, and you shine a light down on them. From their perspective, it would look like they're staring up at the sky, not seeing you at all. That's exactly what the hatchet fish does. How did it learn such a useful skill? Well, I think some questions are better left unanswered.
Number 2. The giant oarfish.
Now, I've talked about some creatures on this list that have become the stuff of myths and legends over time. But there's another tale that's quite common, people spotting a creature from the deep and thinking that can't be real. That's the story of the giant oarfish, a terrifying creature that was so monstrous-looking that when it was first brought to shore and shown to scientists, they actually thought it was a hoax. On average, the giant oarfish measures about 3 meters in length. However, the largest one ever caught and measured was more than 12 meters long, which is quite a difference. It holds the title for being the largest of the bony fish, and that's saying something. Sadly, though, it's not something you see every day. These creatures like to hang out over 1,000 meters below sea level, which explains why they're not a common sight. This also makes them yet another mystery. We don't know much about their life cycle, how they function in the water, and more. We tend to learn more about them when they wash up on the beach. But scientists don't mind, they love digging into these mysteries. They've even studied some juvenile oarfish in the lab because we know so little about them. Still, they remain creatures that could be more endangered than we realize, and that's a scary thought in its own right.
Number 1. The Japanese spider crab.
Crabs are generally not what you would call scary creatures in the traditional sense. Sure, they might scare you when they grab you with those claws, but most people just think of them as tasty seafood they like to chew on. But if you're talking about a crab that gives off serious yikes vibes, look no further than the Japanese spider crab. These crabs are much larger than the common crab. I'm talking an impressive 4 meters from one claw tip to the other. That's enough to make any other crab feel inadequate. The first person to capture one of these giants off the coast of Japan was so impressed by its size that he nicknamed it Crabzilla. And let me tell you, these monsters may not hang out in the Mariana Trench. They tend to be above 550 meters, but they may be lurking near the surface, especially in Japan. So you might regularly spot one of these gigantic crustaceans there. Now, they might not be as terrifying as a Megalodon, but seriously, how does a crab go from being a compact, chunky little creature on the beach to a massive behemoth like this one in the waters off Japan? It's a mystery forever. Thank you for watching this video until the end. Your support means a lot to us. If you like the content, subscribe, like, and share the video. Your feedback is valuable to us, so don't forget to leave a comment below. See you next time for more interesting content.